Welcome into today's broadcast right here at Cog Hill Farm. Now, Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the house for this episode, so here's Jason, Brooke, and our chicken master, Marycarl.
What is up, everybody? This is another episode of the Cogcast podcast, and this is episode groundbreaking number 5050. 50 episodes of the podcast.
Yeah.
How about that?
We have a special guest.
We do. We had a lot of requests for the main farm dog
Oh, goodness.
of Cog Hill.
That's a pretty broad statement.
Yes.
Gidget, you hear that?
Gidget is in the house. What's up,
is-
Gidget?
Gidget is hot and Gidget is wet.
I went out back to water the green stalk planters, and Gidget, as usual, has to attack the water coming out of the water hose. For some reason, she doesn't want that water to get us and wants to protect us from the water hose. It is vicious. It is a terrible creature and needs to be reckoned with, and she handles it.
I was sitting at the computer trying to print out some questions, and I could hear y'all's, I don't know if you call it fight or I don't know what it's called. Do you, baby?
Which, once I get going, it's not that bad. She just acts like a fool running around trying to catch the water.
Well, as soon as she hears the door open, that's the initial foolishness.
Soon as I hit that door handle, she runs as fast as she can, barking as loud as she can, out the doggy door, hits it wide open, and is there before I can open the door.
But this is a perfect example of how she can take that switch and turn it from
Oh, yeah.
extreme to off.
She's got water all over her nose.
She does.
Her hair's soaking wet.
But she she goes from 10 to 0, and right now she's the best dog you could ask for.
It's crazy.
She's still, she's content, but let something
Like the water hose.
or the door open
The
or
vacuum cleaner.
vacuum cleaner,
The mop.
anything.
Even if you get a rag and wipe something up off the floor, she attacks the
No,
rag.
this is even better. When I unload the dishwasher door has a towel that hangs on
Oh,
it
yeah,
for us to
that's
dry
right.
our hands off. And she hears the dishwasher door open. She immediately comes running. She grabs the rag, shakes it like she's killing it, and I don't see it again until I go looking for it.
That rag has to be dealt with.
Sometimes she takes it out the doggy door, but most of the time I can get it from her before that happens.
That dish rag is totally dangerous.
She said she is not this way. She's not the way that we're perceiving her as. She wants to get up on this table.
Yeah.
She's very calm, loving
I don't know if
dog.
that'd be a good idea, Gidget.
No, it wouldn't be.
You'd probably hit something and
No, it
the
wouldn't
volume
be.
go crazy or
But
something.
she's just most precious dog to me. I couldn't imagine my life without Super Gidget.
Super Gidget.
And Marycarl did tell me that if I will let her know, she'll come and get Gidget, so Gidget won't have to sit here through the entire podcast, and
Right.
and I can actually move my paper around without holding her. So now that everybody has seen our precious farm dog,
Gidget.
Gidget, why do you keep saying my name? She's so sweet.
Oh my gracious.
I'm gonna ask Marycarl to come and get her, and we can continue with some questions. Right, Jason?
That's right.
You can talk while I do this, and that way I won't feel like I'm just
No, I gotta give me something to drink.
okay.
No. Well, I will say this. I'm getting this may be the best day I felt this morning.
Really?
Yeah. This morning may be the best I felt. Of course, I did all the chores by myself this morning. You had a grocery store pickup.
Yep. Marycarl and I went to the grocery store and did a pickup, and I came back and was unloading the groceries, and I said, Jason, and he didn't answer, and I thought to myself, well, where is he? And I looked out the door and I could see hay in the hay feeders.
Yes.
And all I did on my way out was to feed the goats and, make them satisfied until I got back, because I was expecting to feed them like I have,
Right,
feed everybody
right.
like I have been. And you were outside, and I was like,
Yeah. I did them. I did them all by myself this morning.
I sure didn't want you to.
I felt good this morning. And it was early. It got warm as the morning went on, but
Here's Marycarl to collect Gidget. Hi, Marycarl.
Hey.
Thank you. Say hello to our viewers.
Hey.
with your crazy chicken kid shirt.
Say, all right, Gidget. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Gidget. We'll get you some headphones next time and a mic.
That's right. Look,
She sees herself in the mirror.
This might be her crazy switch.
I look at her.
She said, "I'll kill that
She's
Pomeranian."
probably saying, "Look how beautiful that I am." Look.
Her hair is all crimped looking from the water. All right. Thank you, Marycarl. So y'all got to see a glimpse of Marycarl to know that she still does live here.
Yes,
Sometimes she does.
that's right.
No, she just she's gotten to where she's interested in doing all these origami things.
Oh gosh, she has been origami obsessed here for a month.
With our homeschool curriculum last year, we ordered an art curriculum as well, so she could learn some background of some artists and some history and things like that. Well, included in that kit was an origami kit.
Yep.
And she, we were actually going through some things the other day, and she forgot that was in there, and she got it out, and boy, has she been.
She has been on it. There are origamis everywhere. Matter of fact, I got one right over there.
I think I'll get that.
Okay. But
She's very talented when it comes to the making of these.
she made some micro ones. I don't know how she did it. It looked like she had to do it with a pair of tweezers.
But she doesn't have to watch a video most of the time.
Yeah, she
can
figures
just,
it out,
She
yeah.
figures it out, and she folds them, and she's made peacocks and swans and ducks and
Cranes
cranes.
and
they're all bird related.
a lotus flower recently.
And boxes. She started making boxes.
Boxes.
Envelopes.
Yeah, envelopes. She sent somebody a thank you letter that was homemade. The envelope was homemade. The card was homemade. Had an origami heart on it. So she's on it.
She's interested in it, and she kind of gets interested in one thing, and it goes to the extreme,
Yeah.
and then she might quit that and go to something else. So
Kinda
I don't
like-
know if this will be a temporary or a long term.
Well, that reminds me of something I heard recently when I got sick. It was one of the doctors that said he was a cereal hobbyist.
Oh yes.
And I have never heard that term before. And he told me that he finds something he's interested in, and he just goes all out, completely all out. If it's fishing, he's buying fishing rods, new tackle boxes, a boat, just all
You know
out.
how I feel about that?
And then all of a sudden, a switch would go off, and he could be in the middle of fishing, put everything up and sell it all, and start another hobby. I've never heard of that before.
Well, I can say it's a good thing he's a doctor earning a doctor's
I guess
salary
so.
because there aren't too many people who
I could do that.
who
Yeah.
could do that. So, if you have the means, I guess maybe
Right.
your hobbies could swap a lot. But if you're on a financial budget, then you probably need to stick to the same thing, unless it's origami.
Unless it's
that doesn't
origami.
cost, that doesn't
Yeah.
have much cost to
Right.
it. So, she's really enjoyed doing that, and she tries to show Jason and me how to fold different things, and of course it's just it's like foreign language to
Yes,
me.
it
She
is.
shows me how to do it, and she's like, "Can you think you could do that, Mom?" I'm like, no, I
No.
don't.
Not at all.
Good try, but no, I don't.
So that's been her obsession here recently. Is she spends hours doing origami.
Yes, and she timed herself the other day. She said, "Mama, you see this right here? It's a swan. I made it in 21 seconds." I was like, "Oh my gracious!"
That's
so
crazy.
so now she's trying to figure out how fast she can make
That's
them.
crazy.
Anyway, we've had a busy week. We've had a lot going on as usual.
Yep, we are, and we're just not to sound like a broken record, but it is crazy. Everything's going so fast. The whole transition from going here to the other farm is in warp speed. It seems like.
I don't feel overwhelmed though. I did at one point before we got to where we are now.
Yes.
I felt really overwhelmed, but I feel like that's coming to an end. I can finally.
Well, some dominoes have fell into place.
I guess that's what it is.
We got the goat pens,
Yeah,
which
the
were
goat
big.
shelters.
The goat shelters, which was big, and we bought some extras in case we needed those. So we're good there.
Right.
We ordered Scott's shelter, and
Yes.
it came in,
It
or the
came
Peacock
in.
shelter, which is pretty
And
big.
let me say this before I
Yeah.
forget and get off subject. People saw the video where we unloaded the goat shelters in the middle of the pasture.
Yeah.
All right. We had to get somewhere that we could get them off with a tractor, which
Right.
just so happens to be in the middle of the blazing sun in the middle of the pasture. That's not where they're going to stay.
Yeah.
We're going to place them in appropriate areas where the goats won't bake in the sun.
No, they'll have plenty of shade.
Y'all just
Don't worry about it.
realized that we just had to get them off the truck. That's not where they're going to permanently be. We're
Right.
going to make every way in our means to make sure that they're comfortable. They're not going to sit out in the sun and bake. If we
Right.
see that they're too hot, we will make necessary plans to
Yeah, don't worry
add
about that.
shade
Yeah.
and whatever needs to be done. We're
Right.
not going to put our animals in an oven.
Right.
And yeah, it does seem like that would be hot. And we had said to ourselves, we're going to hang a thermometer in there and see what the temperature gets to.
And we're going to take the backs off.
We're going to take the
backs are
backs off
removable.
unless, unless we have a harsh winter or something.
Oh, then we'll put the back on in
that's
the
right.
wintertime. But
That's
in the
right.
summertime, we're going to more likely going to take the backs off. And it's going to be no different than the shelter they got. I mean, the girls' goat shelter is made out of tin.
That's right. So
Complete tin.
if it heats up on the inside, we'll do differently.
Right.
And if we see that they need to be elevated off the ground, we'll build them a elevated area to where they won't lay in wet grass or wet mud.
That's right.
So one step at a time. We had to get the shelters to the farm,
Right.
and we accomplished that.
Yeah, we
and
got
we
that
showed
done.
that in the video. But we have not put a fence up yet. We have not had a permanent area for the
No.
goats to live in. So this is all just one step at a time.
Right. And
One
then
step at
we've
a
even
time.
talked about buying those sails,
Yeah,
shades.
the sunshades.
Those things work great. So I mean,
We could set T-post
We're
and put it
fine.
over the top of it and add an extra shade.
Yes.
Our animals will be taken care of. We're not going to put them in an oven.
And also, these goat shelters are going to more likely, they're going to be temporary. At some point,
yeah.
we're going to build a goat barn because we want to milk our goats.
That's right.
And so we're going to do that, but we don't have enough time to build anything
that's right.
right now.
So right now we are fixing it to where we can house our animals.
Yes.
And in the future, we will have our quirky little farm look.
Right.
We will have little buildings here and there in different colors and just what you're used to here at the 40. But it's not going to happen. Used to at the original
Yes.
Cog Hill. It's not going to happen right now. We don't have time.
We do not have time.
We have to have shelter for our animals and get them moved over there to where they're comfortable and we are comfortable with having them there and go from there.
That's right.
One step at a time.
So-
Hand me that pen if you don't mind. It's behind your computer so I can mark off these questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we got Scott's came in.
And-
We ordered nuggets, and the nugget one is pretty big, and we think that we can store some feed in it.
Yeah.
And nugget's not going to get in there, but it's there if he wants to.
That's right. It'll be a shade
Yeah.
area. It may be that we can put the chicken tractor that we plan to put the layers in, that the trailer.
Yeah,
that we're
yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
Maybe we could put it in the area with
Right.
that and move it around, so
Yeah.
he'll still be with the
Right.
same flock that he's with now.
We'll figure it all
We're not
out.
going to leave him all alone.
No.
He's used to being with the chicks and the geese and the chickens, geese, and ducks.
yep.
We're not going to take that away from him.
No.
He's not going to go from being in a community to being in solitary confinement.
Right. Everybody's going to be all together. Even Scott's pen. We're all going to put it together.
Only thing that's going to change is their housing
Yeah.
for now.
For now.
For now.
Temporary. Yep.
And the reason we are putting Scott and Ozella and little O in a pen is simply because peacocks have an instinct to want to go back home.
Yep.
If we go out there and we take our peacocks in a horse trailer and we open that door, guess what's going to happen?
They're going to try to find their way back
They're
home,
gonna
and
say-
they're going to leave. More likely, they will leave.
They're going to say to themselves, this is not where I'm supposed
Right.
to be. And fly
Gone.
away.
We'll probably never see them again.
Probably never
Yep.
see them again.
So we'll probably leave them in there. We have no idea how long.
I read somebody said that they put up a shelter for their peacocks,
Uh-huh.
and in 3 months they were able to let them out.
Okay.
And they stayed right there.
Okay, cool. I think we'll probably test the waters with Scott because, from what I read, is
The
that
male's not
the
gonna leave
male's
the
not going to
females.
leave the females. So if the females are in that big pen, we could probably let Scott out and let him walk around because he's not going to leave his ladies.
That's right.
Yeah.
But y'all, we are going to be prepared. We're
Yep.
not going to drop anybody off with the expectation that I hope you stay, but if you don't,
Right.
it's not going to work that way.
Correct.
We're going to have pens, and we're going to have it's not going to be anything elaborate,
Right.
but it's going to be what they need in order to survive the heat,
Yep.
survive the winter if
Yep.
need be, and to keep them at our farm.
That's right.
So
So we're good.
we had a lot of questions about that, and I
Okay.
don't mean to sound like I don't mean to sound smart alecky in any kind of way that by saying that this is not permanent, but it's not. It's nothing permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we've bought these shelters. It was a small investment, but I guarantee you that anytime down the road, we'll be able to use them, number one, if we choose to.
Yep.
And number two, if they're in our way, we can sell them.
That's right.
I'm good at that.
Yeah.
I can buy and sell anything.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. Only thing we were worried about is getting shelters for our animals, and we do not have time to build anything
That's
because we still have to pack this house up.
That's right.
We still have to move everything we own over there.
Yeah.
We can't.
Potentially, maybe even to a storage facility.
That's right. And we got to do this in about 8 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that as far as
Yeah.
the time frame. So, animals are our priority because we can take care of ourselves.
Right.
Animals can't take care of themselves. They depend on us.
Right.
So we will have everything that they need set up and ready to go.
Right.
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
So all we have to do is move them over there. Yes, it's going to be a transition. It's going to be a transition for us too.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to make it the best we can possibly make
That's
it.
right.
With what we have. And that's what we preach all the time is do the best with what you have.
The hand you've been dealt, adjust, adapt, and go with it.
That's right. I mean, we're looking at this as a temporary fix. If we're ever going to leave here, then that's what's got to be done.
Yep. That's right.
So, you got anything else you want to talk about before we go to our questions?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so off the top of my head. I got that. I know people want to know about my health, and I'm feeling way, way better. So yeah, I think we're good.
Well, that covers that. So you haven't even seen the questions.
I haven't even seen the questions.
You were outside fighting with Gidget while I was in there
I was on
picking
water patrol.
Water patrol.
Mm-hmm.
And then Marycarl needed to print something because
Okay.
she was making something. So I kind of, cut them off. Didn't get to every question. Keep them coming. We'll get to them eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number one is how do we protect our dogs and cats from ticks? Do they get the same ticks that caused Jason's illness?
Yes, they would get the same ticks. And we recently found out that dogs, and I know dogs, I don't know about cats. I'm assuming the
I
cats
don't know
too.
about cats either.
But dogs can get Rocky Mountain spotted fever, but I don't
Yes.
know what their symptoms are compared to a human. We do give our dogs treatments, and we do several different things depending on which dog it is.
The little ones get a peel,
Yeah.
and I do that on the first of every month, and that way it's no confusion. And in the South, I don't know how it is nationwide, but we have to use heartworm prevention.
Yep, we use heartworm prevention.
And what that is just a worm that gets in a dog that can't be controlled by your normal dog wormer.
Right.
So it has to be a specific treatment that's made for dog heartworms. We do that as well for all of our dogs. And back to the treatment that we use a peel for the little dogs. It's just easy for us to do. When we're giving the heartworm treatment to them, we give them the peel for the fleas and ticks, and they're inside our house all the time, those dogs. So we can't take a chance of them having fleas and ticks and potentially passing them on to us or whatever.
That's right.
Not to say we don't treat the outside ones, because we do.
We do, differently though.
Differently. Yes, we use, there are a couple of dogs that we use a topical treatment on. That would be the Pyrenees because they're long-haired.
Yes.
And we also use a collar. It's a Seresto flea collar.
Yes.
Flea and tick collar.
Flea and tick collar.
And it lasts, they say 8 months, but I don't let it go that long before I replace it because I feel like it's losing its effectiveness at some point. But our shorter hair dogs, which are Jewel and Sunshine, which are both rescues, they get the Seresto collar.
That's right.
And from what we have seen, it's worked very well for us. Now, not to say that would work very well for others. You may say, well, that didn't work for me. But through trial and error, we found out what works best for us.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do for fleas and ticks.
And
the cats, too. We use a
cats, too.
topical
For the cats.
for the cats because we have had instances where we have tried the Seresto collar on Tucker at one time, and it came up missing in about 2 days.
Yeah.
So
she wiggled out of it
she wiggled out of it. It was tight enough, but I don't know how she got out of it. So I just use a topical, and that way I know that they're getting the treatment that they need.
That's right. And we have, I think I read somebody wanted to know how many dogs we had, and we have.
Oh, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
That's actually the next question.
Okay.
So you can go ahead with that. So how many dogs do we have?
We have, let's see, 3. We got 7. Is that right?
7 dogs.
7 dogs. Crazy I had to think about it. But
7 dogs. Well, I only knew it because I had already thought ahead of how many dogs we have.
We have 3 inside dogs, which y'all know, Gidget and Arlo. And we have Dixie, who's the Shihtzu.
Yes.
And then we have outside dogs, which are Jewel, who is a blue heeler mix.
She's not outside anymore. My mom has taken her in.
She's taken her in. Jewel is a...
She has, I don't know if you would call it anxiety or what her condition may be called, but she was inside our house for the longest time. And Mom just fell in love with her. And so as time went on, she transitioned to want to be inside, outside here. And next thing you know, she's in Mom's all the time.
Yep. So that's Jewel, the blue heeler mix, who's a rescue. And then we got Sunshine, who's a rescue, who's just a mutt.
She's in a lot of the videos. She's the one that has the one ear up and the one ear down.
Like a brown color, looks like a fox face.
And she chooses to be outside.
She wants to be. She used to stay inside. We try to keep her inside. Yeah. And she wants to stay outside. She never comes in.
She does not want to come in.
Once she started asking to go out, she just stays out. And she stays on the front porch.
Just about 24/7.
And stays there and just looks outside and watches everything. But when we go down to feed, she usually goes with us.
Yeah.
So that's Sunshine. And then we got our 2 Great Pyrenees. Well, one of them's a Pyrenees mix. And that's Foxy. She's the younger.
Yeah, she's the female. And then Bear, he's an old man.
Yep.
Bear's probably 9. 9, getting close to 10.
Which is old for a Great Pyrenees, especially of his size, because Bear is huge.
And he has slowed down a lot.
He has.
And let's see. Oh, goodness, there was another. Oh, this. Have our dogs been spayed? I am an advocate of having your dog spayed and neutered to prevent unwanted births.
Correct.
Everything in our household, cats, dogs, what else do we have in the house? That's it, isn't it?
That's
Button
it,
quail,
cats and
but
dogs.
He's not spayed.
No.
Or neutered.
Yeah.
But everything we have is spayed and neutered.
Right.
We do that at an early...
except Arlo.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Arlo hasn't been fixed yet.
Arlo has not been fixed.
And
he wanted to wait the vet wanted to wait as long as possible if we do decide to neuter him.
And so
the vet said if it was his dog, he wouldn't neuter him.
Because all the girls are spayed, because there's nothing else out there.
And he's an inside dog.
And he's an inside dog. So we've left Arlo alone.
He said that once you neuter them, those hormones just kind of get out of whack and it'll cause them to get fat.
Yeah.
And we know that from experience with females of ours that have been spayed. And Bear, of course, has been neutered.
Yes.
But if we can keep Arlo like he is without destroying his hormones and making him a fat boy, then we may leave him alone. Right now, there's no issues whatsoever. Our females are spayed. He never has access to any kind of a female that would be in heat.
Right.
So that's the way it'll be.
I think that's what it'll be. Yeah, I think so too. Because Arlo is just, he's good.
He's almost a year. So I think, if we wanted to have him neutered, we could. But there's just no issues.
Didn't he say like in between 6 and 18 months?
Yes.
Something
like
that. He wanted
over
a year.
Until he was at least a year.
Oh, that's right.
And all vets are different, but that's what ours told us.
Yep.
Okay, and so the Shihtzu. People want to know about the Shihtzu. How did we decide to get a Shihtzu?
This is a crazy story. All right, Marycarl was 2, if I'm not mistaken. And Marycarl, we had a friend who's a Shihtzu breeder, Miss Julie. And Marycarl loves going over there and loved going over there and loved the Shihtzus. And she had some puppies.
Yes, Julie had a litter of puppies.
And so Marycarl was just about to start to get potty trained. And we told Marycarl, because we didn't think it was going to happen. This was crazy. We told Marycarl that we would get her a Shihtzu puppy if she would start going to the potty. Y'all, that's all it took. We never had to potty train Marycarl. Literally, when we told her that day, she TT'd and did number 2 by herself in the toilet at 2 years old, so we had to go get the Shihtzu.
Well, it wasn't necessarily a bribe. We knew we were going to get the Shihtzu anyway.
Yeah.
But on top of saying we were going to get the Shihtzu, it was just a little added,
Right.
Some people put little lifesavers on top of the potty. If you TT in the poo-poo in the potty, you
Get
get a
the
lifesaver. Well, if you TT and poo-poo in the potty, then we'll get you that puppy we're getting the puppy anyway.
Right.
But she didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, she just, she made that work. And Dixie has been in our lives for almost 10 years
Yeah,
now.
Dixie's getting close to 10.
She's getting close to 10.
She may even be. She's close.
She's close to 10 because Marycarl wasn't quite 2, I don't think.
Right.
She's been a good dog. She's very, very laid back.
Yeah.
She
She
goes outside to use the bathroom and then
She's
she
so
comes
laid
back
back.
in and she's
Yeah.
real lazy and she's been a good dog for us. Not to say we wish we wouldn't have got her, but
Oh, no.
it's not the perfect breed for us.
Yeah. That's right. It's she's a little too laid back.
She's a little mellow. We hope to have Dixie with us for many, many years
Right.
to come. However, I can start to see a little.
She's slowing down.
She is. Not to say she wasn't slow to begin with, because
Right.
she's been a snail just
Right.
about all her life. But she's showing her age a little
Yeah,
bit
she
now.
is.
So that answers that. What is the 40 planted in?
It's Bahia is what it looks
It's
like.
Bahia.
And then
every
there's-
time I cut with that bush hog, here lately, it's gone to seed here lately.
Yeah, the little V with the black little seeds in
the
it.
seeds just cover up the bottom of the
Yeah.
tractor where I put my feet. And Jason came to bring me some water one day when I was bush hogging.
Yep.
And I said, "What?" It kind of worried me. I was like, "You got something all over your neck," and I thought it was bugs.
Well, what's happening is I drove Marycarl's beep beep, which is a lot smaller and lower to the ground than our normal one, and I was just going through the pasture and it hadn't been cut yet, and I could feel the seeds hitting me.
And
but
you
I
were
didn't pay attention
sweating.
about- yeah, and I didn't think anything about it.
Y'all, it was a sight to be seen. His entire neck was covered in little black dots, and I didn't know at the time if it was ticks or if it was ants or what it was, but I
Yeah.
knew it wasn't supposed to be there. And he reached up and he said, "Oh, that's seeds.
Yeah.
That's seeds from the
From
grass."
Bahia.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
relieved. Because they were everywhere.
They were
They
everywhere.
were probably even in your beard. I just couldn't
I'm
see them.
sure if I didn't have the beard, they would probably been all over my face. Now we have some perennial rye too that
Yes,
comes up.
when we bought the pasture,
Yeah.
it was, oh goodness, waist high, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And it was green all up underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we knew at that point that there was some perennial rye planted in there because it had been vacant for 4 years.
Right.
So it has to be perennial. Nobody planted it there
Right.
that year. So when we get into cooler weather, it's going to be nice to see green grass.
It is gonna be nice seeing green grass, and it's got some native weeds there too. The verbena. A lot of people ask about the purple flower. It came up in between the perennial rye and the Bahia,
Yes.
and it was a lot of purple verbena. And then Marycarl could tell you more because she identified all the flowers, but the purple verbena was one that you could really see.
And it's pretty, but it often indicates that you need some amendments to your soil.
Yeah, and
That being said,
yeah.
when you did the soil test, it came back as being very acidic.
very acidic soil, and we have put in an order to have some lime put out because it's such a big area that matter of fact, Mr. Greg over at
I was
Hoss
fixing
Tools,
to say that. We
he's the
told
one that
him the
said
numbers.
don't do it yourself. He's the one that told me how much I needed. He said don't do it yourself. He said there's companies or people that do this, and he said you'd be way better spent letting them do it and then you trying to put out that much lime.
So when was our visit to Hoss?
That was, oh man, a month ago.
Oh, it's been longer than that,
Longer than
Jason.
that.
You've almost had Lyme
Oh,
disease
that's
for a
right.
month.
Lyme disease.
I mean, Rocky Mountains.
Spotted fever. That's true.
It's been
months ago,
a while. As
Yeah.
soon as we got back from that visit, Greg said, "Look at those numbers and tell me what they were, and I'll calculate for you how much lime you need to add."
Yeah.
And we did that, and I called around Miss Kathy, who is our friend that lives in in our community. She actually told me of 2 people that I could contact to apply the lime. And they would do it, with the fertilizer truck or whatever it is.
However they do it, yeah.
And so I called them, and they said, okay, there's a waiting list of about 2 weeks. And I said, okay, put it on there. And I told them how many acres we had, put me on the list, and I hadn't been contacted yet.
Well, you called them back about 3 weeks after that, and she told you the same thing. It was about a 2-week lag, so we don't know what's going on.
But I did see somebody in our area having lime applied to their pasture this past week.
Yeah, and you said they had a spreader on a pickup truck.
Well, it wasn't. It was a trailer hookup spreader.
Okay.
And I know it was lime. I know it was lime.
Yeah.
So we want to get that lime applied because Greg said that
we need to do it ASAP.
Because in October he wants us to come back with some fertilizer.
Yeah.
Isn't that what he said?
I forgot. I had to get back with him.
Well,
but
I hate to say what he told us and it not be correct, but regardless, he
did say we needed to get the lime on there ASAP because it's going to take a while for it to
break down,
to do whatever it needs to do for us to plant in the spring.
Well, he wanted us to put this bahia seed out. Remember that?
Yep.
Oversee the pasture and to make it that much more nutritious for our critters and for us to plant in.
Yep.
So we do plan to do that, and I'm going to give them a call tomorrow and just see where we are on that list and see if I can't get things moving along. All right, this is for you. What's happening with the pond?
The pond is on hold. We mentioned in I know we mentioned in maybe the last podcast or podcast
I don't know
before
that we
last.
did or not.
We did because it's in the title. The gentleman that we got that does ponds, he did not hit water. He didn't hit underground spring, which would have been 4 foot deeper or higher, and he dug a pretty big ditch, never hit it. So we are on phase 2 of the pond, which is on hold because we told Piper's dad.
Well, I was going to say that when I found out the results from not hitting water, I told Piper's mom about it. She and I are good friends, and I told her I was so disappointed because I was hoping that we would have the pond in by the time we got ready to build the house, this, that, and the other. And she said, well, do you want Ross to take a look at it? And I said, yes. And I said, I know he's very busy, and he is.
He's been so busy because we would have got him to do it to start with, but he's
got jobs that are out
busy.
of town, and he's stretched out pretty far. And so I said, yes, ask him if he would be interested in coming over there and doing the job, once he slows down some. Well, I didn't hear back from her, and I sure didn't want to mention it and sound like, that I was priority.
Right.
I get a message from her the other day, and she said, Ross said that he should be able to come and see about your pond, but it may be November.
Right.
And I said, put me on his schedule to come and look and see what he can do and what would it involve. It may be that he can come and look before then. If we need a well, we could go ahead and get plans going for a well.
Right. And someone's also told us to contact the Soil and
Alabama Soil and Conservation Department.
Yes.
And I just so happened to have passed that the other day. So
okay, good.
On my long list of things to do is to stop by there and talk to them and see what they can do to help us out. And
supposedly they'll and we don't know how loose it is. We don't know what has to be done, but they do offer grants if you're going to use the pond for livestock for watering because it's water conservation. And we would definitely maybe put a pump system in there to filter and use it to water the animals and water the garden.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and if we had to install a well to do that, then we may even use the well for our primary drinking water.
There's a lot of options there. So
I want to talk to them before Ross is able to get over there, so at least I'll know in my mind if we got any help or not.
Right.
Because we found out that we had just Googled cost of ponds, and we had a figure in our mind, and what we were given was a little bit more than what we were thinking.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's due to us not hitting the spring or
I don't know.
what, but
I don't know.
I want to talk to Ross face to face rather than through message. I want him to look at the site, and he's just too busy to do that right now.
He is. He's extreme, and they're in the same situation we're in now. They sold their house like a month ago, The housing market's crazy. This young lady wanted their house, made them an offer on the house, and they accepted it without anywhere to go. They didn't even have a camper.
No, they had nothing.
And they had to be out like in 2 weeks.
Yes, it sprung up on them really quick.
Yeah.
So they had animals. As y'all know, you probably saw a video with us feeding their animals and helping them out. They had chickens they had to move. They had ducks. They had rabbits. They had a pig. They had dogs. They had cats.
Yeah.
And they had to be out.
Yeah.
And so now they're living with Katie's mom.
That's right.
Which has worked out for them, but it's not home.
That's right.
I mean, I think anybody would feel that you were intruding, whether it be your parents or who you're living with.
Right.
You just would know that was not a long-term solution. And since then, they found a perfect place, but they're still going through some,
And it doesn't have a house on it. So, I mean,
it does have a house.
Oh, I didn't know it was a livable structure yet.
There is a mobile home that the people live in.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And they'll stay there until their place
house
becomes
is built.
available.
Okay.
And there is what they call the World War II house.
Yeah.
And this is what your dad went out there
Oh,
and
really?
helped them with the electrical and made sure everything was safe and up to par before they moved in.
Okay, cool.
So he went out there yesterday.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you that. And,
Great.
And Piper just told me, Carl, that they're headed to Sherwin-Williams to get some paint to paint the World War II house.
And why is it called a World War II house?
Because it was built
during
before World War II. Before World War II. They just call it
the World War
It's
II house.
very old.
Oh, cool. We got to go out there and see it.
Well,
I
told
know,
Katie,
but once they get
and she
out
said
there.
that she's gonna want me to come see
Sure.
it. She's just things have got to be
They're,
settled down a
they're,
little
they're
bit.
crazy busy, just like us, and we know exactly what they're going through. On top of that, Ross owns his own construction company, pretty much, and so they're busy.
And Katie's made the decision the same year we did to homeschool her children.
Yes, that's right.
She has a boy, Tristan, and a girl, Piper, and she started hometschooling them last year at the same time we did.
Yep.
So now she's fixing to have that on her plate,
Yes.
as well as moving and, getting this structure that's there, the World War II house, to where they can move in.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of things going on there, but I just told Ross to keep it fresh on his mind, because
Yes.
we do want him to come look, and we do want a pond.
Yeah, we do want a pond.
It's not going to happen before we move out there.
No, the house is, originally we thought the pond may come before the house, but now that's changed, and the house
That's
definitely
okay.
going to come before the
We're
pond.
just going to anticipate that a pond will be there at some point. It might
That's
be
right.
10 years, but at some point we're going to have a pond.
That's right.
That's how we look at it. All right. Do you not need building permits where we are?
I don't know how it is anywhere else, depending on where you live in Alabama, but typically in your rural areas here, you do not need building permits. Now you do need permits like the septic tank permit.
Which we will. We have the plans.
yes.
I just need to take it to
We got it approved by the engineer. All we got to do is take it to
the health department and let them put it on file.
But
I need to do that this week too.
That's done. But as for building permits here, no. It depends. If you lived in like Valley Grande, where we live now,
You have to have
you
a
have to
building
have
permit.
building permits. But
It just depends on the area.
It depends. If it's super rural and not in a city limits of something, then chances of you having is
Slim to
slim.
none.
Yeah.
And these people were wondering that because they said that if you live somewhere where a permit was required, your plans would need to be stamped.
Oh yeah.
And we met with the architect this weekend.
Yes.
And we know all about that now.
Yes.
As far as we don't have to have a stamp plan, but
No.
we know about permits and what's required.
Right.
So, thankfully, we could draw up our own plan, and
we could.
and just because of where we are. Okay, this brings us to probably how many cats we have.
We have
Let's just
we have 2.
Will the animals at your mom's be going with her when she temporarily moves with her sister, or will we be caring for them? All right,
Yes.
so we got Jewel. She will be in an apartment at her sister's.
Yes.
If it even comes to this, we're
Right.
starting to wonder now if things are going to be kind of bam as far as timing, I think.
Maybe.
You didn't look very confident, but she has a cat, Angora, that was actually our cat initially. Mama has a tendency to take her cats.
She does.
So she has Angora.
Yep.
She has Miss Beasley. So she lives outside with Angora.
Yeah.
And then we have Mort, who was our barn cat.
Yep.
And Mort formed a bond with Sassy Man,
Yes.
who is AKA Spencer,
The
who
one.
Laura from Simply Making It daughters found it on the side of the road.
Right.
And Sassy and Mort are best friends.
Yep.
And so Mort pretty much lives at Mama's house on her screened-in porch, and Sassy will play with Mort, and Mama lets Mort in from time to time, but she
Right.
said they destroy her house. So Sassy, for the most part, plays with Mort on the back porch.
Yeah.
And what Katie did when Piper's mom, they had 2 cats, and they were scared when they took them to her mom's
may
that
go.
they were going to
Yeah.
go. And, that's just like a peacock.
Yeah.
It's unfamiliar.
Cats are known to do that.
So I'm almost thinking that we'll get something kind of like Scott.
Yeah.
And put the cats in and make sure they have plenty of shade and a house and just let them know where their home is.
Is that what Katie did?
Well, she's got a kennel because she only has 2 of them. And it's an enclosed kennel.
Okay.
And they actually have it in their Airstream.
Okay.
And Piper and Tristan stay in the Airstream.
I got you.
The cats stay in the kennel.
Okay.
And then they let them out when they're supervised, but they don't want them to tear the Airstream up. So only when supervised. And they won't roam off.
Okay, good.
So when they get to the new place, they can put them in the kennel and they will know their boundaries.
Oh, that's good.
So I think that's probably what we'll do. Jewel will go with us because Mom can't have a dog at the apartment. And Sassy Man, since he lives inside, he will go with Mama and continue to live inside the apartment with a litter box, which is basically what he does now.
Yes.
He's the sweetest cat. He's her baby, and she's just so glad that we brought him home as a barn cat.
She loves Sassy Man.
He's so sweet to her. She said it. She's always been a cat person, but she said this is by far the sweetest cat she's ever had.
She loves that cat.
He's not real sweet to me. He doesn't want to come sit in my lap or anything, but I guess it's just, what he's used to. Will you keep that lovely, homey, cozy look to your farm, the little critter village?
Yeah, probably even more so. It won't be like that right off the bat because, like I said, we got to get stuff done. But it's probably going to be more so than it is now, I would think.
I would think that it's not going to be that way initially, just like you just stated. But I would think in time, it's just our nature to be quirky and to.
It is. It really is. Like I said, we want to have a permanent goat barn.
Yeah.
We're going to have permanent chicken coops. So yeah, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to take us time to get there.
Yeah.
It took us 17 years to get this one. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So it's going to be
happen overnight,
a long journey for you guys to be with us on. So yeah, it's gonna be quirky. And
y'all take your vitamins and make sure you're up to date on your health because we're gonna be here for a bit.
That's right.
If you want to see what we got in our future, it's gonna take us a while to get it to where we want it. But we were just about to where we couldn't do much else here.
No.
And to start over with our quirkiness, to me, is just music to my ears because
it is.
We are not sitters.
No, we're doers.
We can't sit down and not to say we don't always have something to do here because we do, but to start over will be a breath of fresh air and
it will be
ideas. I mean, we just love yesterday when we were over at the 40.
Yeah.
We kind of had some issues with the placement of our house and. We were thinking, well, if we have to go this far, then if we do have a pond, it won't be like our vision will be right there looking at the pond. Light bulb goes off. I can make me a little pathway, a little cute little pathway, and make a little rope, handrail to go down to the pond. There's Gidget.
Yeah, and like a screened-in pergola or something.
We've got ideas.
We got ideas.
So it'll come, but it'll just take time.
Yeah.
So realize that anything we're doing now is nothing that is permanent.
Right.
Everything that we're doing now is temporary, and who knows, the housing that we're buying now, we may end up selling it in the future. This is temporary.
It's just temporary.
I have a feeling our daughter will have a use for everything, though.
I do too.
All right. When the goats are out in a bigger pasture, will you put the does and the bucks together? Are you up for baby goats?
We will keep them separated until we're ready to breed. And yes, I guess we got new fans that don't know that we have had baby goats in the past, and we do sell them because we don't want to crossbreed.
Yeah.
We don't breed the daddy with the daughter. That's one reason, and we do want it because we want goat milk. We really, really want goat milk. In the past, we had planned on milking them. Things just didn't work out like we wanted it to.
We bought a milk stand. We had, total plans of milking them, and we didn't have a milking station built at the time.
Right.
I don't mean stand. I mean
somewhere
area.
covered that's comfortable for the goats and us, and
it's a good thing we didn't go to that trouble,
I know.
because now we
came
would be starting over.
So close to doing it so many times.
We do want to milk our
Right.
goats, but whether it's going to be this year or not, I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening this year, and that comes to the point to answer the question is, and that is, yes, we're going to separate our bucks and does until we want to breed. Then we would do that, and I think we'll have 3 areas. We'll have the doe area, the buck area, and the breeding area.
Yes,
Because we can't mix the Nubians with the Nigerians,
that's right.
and vice
Some people
versa.
breed those together to make what you call a mini Nubian or whatever.
Yeah.
But we have full-blooded of both, so
Yeah.
I think we'll just keep those
think so,
breeds
too.
separated.
Yep.
All right. So, did you read the next question?
It is. What sort of flowers are you thinking about growing? We're going to do cut flowers. We're going to start off easy, doing sunflowers for sure, easy. Zinnias are easy. Cosmos are easy. So those I know right off the bat that we will do. And then as I learn, I'll progress, maybe start going to dahlias and other things that I don't know about. But those I know we can do, I can handle, and go from there.
Marycarl is so excited
She
about
is.
this flower farm
She really
possibility. She's just, she reads, she researches, she knows a lot about different types of flowers and their requirements, and I think that'll just give her a reason to read and learn.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
to excel at growing flowers, because she's interested in it.
Yes.
When are you going to start building animal housing and fencing? And what are you going to do different this time compared to the new farm compared to this farm? What will we do differently?
We will we'll start doing fencing.
We've started doing fencing.
We got fencing done, but we'll probably do some more fencing soon as we get nailed down where the house is going to go, for one, because that's going to determine some fencing.
That does determine it, but you know what my number one priority is?
What's that?
Getting you better.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. There's
He's not
no
gonna
way
be
I
out
could
there
do
putting-
fencing right now.
No.
This is my first day doing the chores by myself, and it's going to be interesting to see come 1, 2, 3 o'clock if my energy level is still there, or if it's so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We're going to take care of his health
Yeah.
first. If we have to come in and hire somebody to put fencing up, lo and behold, that's what's going to happen, because he's not going to overdo it.
I do have to be careful. So.
And I'm going to oversee that. So, are we going to have stairs or upper room? And the comment went on from several people to say, you're getting, not to say we're old, but your age is not to the point where I thought you wanted to build a 2-story house. And that's what some comments were.
Yeah, we're not going to.
It's not going to be a 2-story
It's
livable
not going to be
house.
a 2-story house. We were going to do a completely just one-level house. And then as I started doing research, I wanted attic access that was easy.
We need
and
attic
I wanted
access.
a place to put the air condition, the air handler that wasn't going to take up space downstairs or on the first floor. So I started seeing all these barndominiums, these houses just had a little loft above the kitchen area. And I was like, that's not going to cost that much money to build.
The
give us
space
an
is already
extra
there.
room.
The space is there.
And then my light bulb went off. I could have a door up there that would go to the attic. And I could have, and the architect agreed with me, I could put the air handler up there. He said it'd be a great place to put the air condition.
Right.
And so that looks like that may happen. And then, like me and you talked, that room could be an office. That room could just be a sitting room, a reading room. That room could be Marycarl's playroom.
We never have to touch that room if we don't want to.
Yeah, don't have to touch it. That room could be mine and Marycarl's media room, because me and her love to watch movies and TV almost every single night.
The space is there. So it's not like it's creating a space that's not already going to be there. We will have to add a set of stairs.
Yes.
Which is... It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then we don't even want walls around it.
No, I even kind of made it, I've seen a plan where it was just almost all open. Of course, there'd be like one.
The backside would be wall because that's attic
off,
access.
But yeah.
3 sides open.
Yeah, pretty much. And
with railing around it, of course. And just be like a industrial looking open area.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're going to do. It's not going to be a bedroom. There's not going to be a bathroom up there.
No.
It's just going to be extra space that we're just going to utilize.
And if we put all our junk up there, then we can put all our junk up there. Whatever we want to do.
Whatever we want to do.
It's our house.
That's right.
How are we going to catch Scott?
Scott's going to be, I know a lot of people are, if you watch our videos, we walk right up to Scott.
I can touch his tail feathers like that. And when he realizes I'm touching, he's like, what's that touching me?
Yeah. But he doesn't run off.
No.
I mean, he'll just jump. It's not going to be hard to catch Scott. Now,
it'll be harder to catch Ozella than it will Scott.
Ozella and little O than it will be Scott.
But
definitely.
Here's our thing. Is we have a horse trailer. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all.
Right.
But it's very functional.
Yep.
And so what we plan to do is to park our horse trailer and get it to where it's empty and catch our animals. And if we can catch Scott that day, if we don't catch Ozella till the next day, he'll be fine in that horse trailer with feed and water until the next morning when we do catch Ozella, and we'll take them over there.
Yes.
And that's how we'll do the ducks and the geese as well.
Yep.
We'll just catch them. And, they're going to be in a small area, but it's not going to kill them.
No.
We're going to get them over there ASAP. So
yeah, they're going to go over there quick, and then we'll probably do a lot of what our main plan is to get the horse trailer in the driveway hooked up, ready to go, and then in the evening times, or when they're all gone to roost, everybody's asleep, and we could catch all the chickens at that point and put them in the horse trailer, and the very next morning take it on and do the same thing with the ducks and geese.
And it may be that we even take them that same night, so they're not, waking up to a strange place. But chickens almost go into a trance when it's dark.
Yeah, they do.
I get tickled every time we go down to the coop at night and the lights are off and you cut that switch on, because as soon as you cut that switch on, they're like this, and then they go.
Yeah, it takes them a minute. Yeah.
It's just so slow.
It is. That's why they're so vulnerable at night to predators.
Yeah, it's like they flip a switch and they go into a mode that's not normally there.
That's right.
I get tickled every time.
Every time.
All right, so that question was about what happened to the one-story house. We just covered that.
Uh-huh.
What's happening for Brooke's mom? Have you gotten her an RV to live in? Keep us posted when you're actually going to sell the property to the people in Seattle. Okay, so that was 2 separate questions.
Okay.
I shouldn't have done that.
It's okay. Your mom she's weighing her options. She's like we said, I think we mentioned in the last podcast that she's thinking about checking out one of your sisters.
Not my sister.
I mean, your mom's sister's apartments, and going to see if that's feasible. So she's going to do that before we start looking for her an RV.
Yeah, not to say that a camper wouldn't be sufficient for what she needs, but as we all know, campers have a little steep set of stairs.
Yes.
I feel like without deterring her on one decision or another, that the best option for her would be to be and go and stay in one of Linda's apartments until we get settled.
I think so too. I think that would be the best option.
But I don't want to weigh my opinion one way or another. We've told her, if you decide you want an RV or a camper, then we will make it happen for you. Mm-hmm. We will start that search. But what's going to happen first is she's going to go down there and she's going to stay in the apartment for a few days.
Yes.
And she's going to see how that, how she feels in it.
That's right.
And we'll just go from there. She won't know it until she tries it, and it won't be for a long period of time.
Yes.
Regardless of what happens, it won't be for a long period of time. And that goes to the next question, is when are you actually going to sell the property to the people from Seattle?
Don't know a specific date yet.
Kinda do. And I'll go over that if you don't mind me talking about it.
I didn't know it was dead set yet.
It's not dead set, but this is what our potential plan is.
Okay.
Okay, so they will be selling their property, and they hope to close on September the 15th.
Okay.
They are thinking that they have 30 days to live there rent-free after the closing before they make their move. They're thinking that because that's what they've been told. So nothing is in stone with them yet. However, this next week will be some confirming dates.
Good.
So that would put us at October the 15th.
Yes.
October the 15th, and then they said it would take them a few days to drive down here from Seattle, which is quite a haul. They would take a moving truck, and basically we're thinking October 15th.
Yeah.
We'll find out more. This next week will be a date week.
Yeah.
We'll know more about a lot of things next week.
Okay, good.
So that's and then will the ducks and geese move to the new farm if there's not a pond for them?
Yeah, there's no pond here for them. So, yeah, they would move there, no problems.
Well, they're into this was I cut it off as we have a creek here, so.
Oh, and the creek, they just started going to the creek. We've had ducks and geese for many years before they even went to the creek.
Well, what
don't
would happen,
know why, but that's just what happened. But we'll have pools for them.
Marycarl would, when we had little ones, she always took them down to the creek.
Yeah.
And so I almost feel like the ducks, the bigger ducks and the bigger geese, they were always curious to know what that little quack was down there. So we would have a crew come down there to check us out when we took babies down there. And I almost feel like that's how they started coming down.
Maybe that's what they started doing.
But, they don't spend the day down there. They just go take a dip and come back.
Yeah.
So I don't think, we went many years without the ducks or geese going in the creek.
Right.
So kiddie pools it is.
And I think people get confused when they think of ducks and geese like a Canadian or a wild duck, like a wood duck or whatever. Good domesticated ducks and geese do not need the water like a wild duck and goose do. It's two totally different animals. As long as they have something to satisfy them, they're completely fine.
Well, we always, Marycarl and I always say that ducks like water for pleasure. Geese have to have water. Geese have to have water to clean out their nostrils. But it
not
needs
a
to
pond.
be no, not a pond. They don't have to have a pond.
Right.
As long as they've got a source to clean out. This is geese now.
Yeah.
Clean out their nostrils, and they do. When you see them in a clean kiddie pool, they get down there and they do like that, and the water comes out their nostrils. So used to back before the ducks and geese started getting in the creek, we would fill up that kiddie pool 3-4 times a day, and it would be black as night, every time we went to empty it, and it was nasty and it would stink, but that's what they used, and we made it work for them.
Right.
We'll make this work for them.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Once you've had this illness, are you resistant to it again?
From what I gather,
Yes.
yes, I have the antibodies, and I suppose we can't get Rocky Mountain spotted fever again. Now, there's oodles of variations of it, though, and they're called different things. But for Rocky Mountain spotted fever, I can't get. But I can get another tick-borne illness or another tick fever type. Is it rickets or rictoris? There's something
I don't know.
called.
It's spelled like rickets, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. You know how we are.
Yeah, we can't even say protege.
I think it's potager.
Potager.
But regardless, when they called me with the results I called them with the results of the Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever blood test, the way that they confirm it is by your body has created antibodies.
Yes.
So that blood work shows, it's kind of like the COVID. When you have COVID, then your body shows that you have antibodies, which means you have had the infection.
Right.
And that's what happened with his blood work, is it showed up antibodies for Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever. And they said he has either had Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever or he has Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever.
Correct.
And he was on the antibiotics, so it could have, but regardless, he had the antibodies.
Yep.
And once you have those antibodies, you can't get that particular strain of illness anymore.
Correct.
That until, with the COVID, the antibodies go away. Why don't they go away with the Rocky Mountain?
I'm not a doctor, so
I'm not a doctor either. I don't even want to take a stab at that one. Will our new house be hurricane and tornado proof?
Well, here's the thing. Original our original thoughts were a pole barn house, and cause number one, I thought all steel house was completely out of the question. I just thought it was going to cost way too much, and finding somebody to do it was going to
Not happen.
be an issue. So we're looking at pole barn houses. But now, since we found this other builder who does all steel housing, and it's not that much price difference like we originally thought.
Minimal.
I've read several variations, but I've heard up to 120 miles an hour, and I've also read up to 160 mile an hour wind on a all steel structure, which is what we're doing. Now, we're also going to build a safe room inside the house. We have talked about tornado shelters, what we're going to do. We talked to the architect, and it looks like we're going to have possibly a steel walled safe room that's going to serve as the closet maybe for the master bedroom.
Right.
But it's going to be completely enclosed steel that will be the safe room in case a tornado does come or hurricane. We can get in there as a family and be protected.
Yes, we initially thought that we would either dig an underground shelter for the outside. I personally didn't like that idea because, as you know, in Alabama, we have a lot of weather.
Yeah.
And so here I am thinking every time the wind blows hard, we're going to have to go under the ground. And I didn't like that idea.
Right.
Our second, possibility was that we put one of these bolt down shelters inside of our garage or something like that. Well, that still makes us have to go outside of our house to the garage to this shelter.
Right.
Every time it's a potential for, well, I mean, I know you don't go in there unless it's extreme weather.
Right.
But I just like the idea, if possible, to have it inside our home.
Yes.
So, we've talked to several people about these, and it seems to be two ways that you can do it. You can form blocks and fill the blocks
with rebar and concrete.
The slab does need to be a little extra
Yes.
enforced in that area because it's a lot of weight going right there.
Yep.
And then forming that up. But if you think about it, if that's inside your house, you're losing a foot all the way around.
Yeah,
because the width
what
of
the architect
block
told
is
us.
a foot long, so you're losing 4 feet all the way around.
Right.
So that makes that area that much smaller, and you're losing square footage. Well, just so happens that I was eating at the Flying Peach, and
our favorite restaurant
It's in Chilton County, Alabama. By the way, y'all go see them. Best food around. Smoked chicken, barbecue,
it's so
nachos.
Good. It really is so good.
Barbecue. Yeah, they cook it fresh every day.
Pecan cobbler,
banana pudding. The list goes on.
Yeah,
Check them out. They got a Facebook page,
really
The Flying Peach. So I was telling them that we were wanting to build a shelter, and we were talking about bad weather.
Yes.
And he said, "Hey, this guy over here next door that has this mechanic shop, he has a bay in one of his stalls, where he works on cars, but the other two, he makes safe rooms
out of steel. Welds them together."
He said, it's not that costly. He said, compared to what the shelters that are pre-made cost,
right?
It's a lot less.
Yes.
And so, along with my visit to Soil and Conservation, along with my visit to the health department,
yes,
I'm going to pick up me some Flying Peach barbecue and go over and talk to this guy about the storm shelters.
That's going to be a great idea.
And so if it's all steel, then it will be minimal as far as taking up space.
Yeah, the steel is, it's thick steel, but it's not a 10-inch block. That's all the way around your...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you don't have to have a reinforced slab.
That's
so
right.
we told the architect, don't figure it with the blocks.
And he liked the idea of the all steel.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He really didn't know of these people making them.
Yes.
So that was new to him.
It was.
But I do plan to talk to him because this guy stays extremely busy from what they told me.
Yes.
They said that, he does the auto mechanic stuff, but that's not how he's staying in business. These safe rooms are how he's staying in business.
And plus, when we get the plans back from the architect, it'll have the size of the closet, and then we can give that to this guy.
Yes, I want it to be already planned out and hopefully something that can be worked with as we're building.
Right.
And not have to wait. And I want to order windows as soon as we know the dimensions of the windows. We need to get them ordered.
Windows and doors are 8 weeks out.
8 weeks, and that's on a good day.
Yep.
And I have a feeling, with the way that things have been turning, that trend may continue.
I agree.
So I want to get something going. I want to have everything lined up. Of course, there's going to be a little mix up somewhere, but you can't always have
It's not going to go perfect.
all
We
your
know
ducks in a
that.
row. We're going to just have most of our ducks in a row.
Right.
Try to, anyway.
That's right. Yeah, best we can.
Best we can. So we got a busy week ahead of us. I hope you enjoyed listening to our long-winded conversations
right.
and question and answers, and keep them coming. End that
Keep 'em
question
coming.
with a question mark so we can filter through them. It makes it so much easier.
It does make it easier, and we try our best to answer everybody's. So if we didn't answer your question this week, keep asking, and hopefully we can get around to it because we get so many.
Yeah, so I'm kind of done with this list. So if I didn't get to your question, submit it again.
Yeah.
I'll never know you sent it twice because I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
That's right.
So just send that question again, and we'll get to it on the next one.
That's right.
We're going to try to get back to a more normal schedule where we answer questions one podcast and we go over what's going on in our life on the second one. And we're going to try to do better.
Yeah, we're going to try to do better. Just me getting sick just threw everything off
It
big
did,
time.
but it's not your fault.
No, it's nobody's
It's not
fault.
your fault.
That's right.
So stupid Tick's fault.
That's right. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of the Cogcast podcast, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.
Number 50.
Number 50. Y'all be good.